Humanity secretly built large-sized warships. The universe wasn't ready. HFY Sci-Fi Story. Commander Zara Blackwood drifted through the zero-gravity maintenance tunnel of what appeared to be a simple asteroid mining facility. To any observer, Station Omega-7 looked like countless other human operations scattered throughout the outer rim, dirty, inefficient, and desperately trying to meet the quotas imposed by the Hegemony Council. The truth was far more extraordinary. "Commander," Lieutenant Kai Reeves whispered through her comm unit, his voice tight with urgency. "We've got incoming. 3 Hegemony inspection cruisers, ETA 47 minutes. Zara's jaw clenched as she pulled herself through the access hatch into the facility's true heart. Below her, stretching for kilometers in every direction, lay the construction bay of humanity's most ambitious secret, the warship Worldbreaker. For 30 years, humans had been hollowing out asteroids, moons, and dwarf planets, transforming them into weapons of unimaginable power. "Dr. Phoenix Vega," Zara called to the chief engineer floating near the massive quantum forge. "How long until the camouflage systems are online?" Phoenix turned, her cybernetic eye interface glowing as she processed system diagnostics. "Give me 20 minutes and this entire asteroid will register as solid rock on their deepest scans." The technology Phoenix had developed was centuries beyond anything the Hegemony possessed. While the alien overlords still relied on crude fusion drives and particle shields, humanity had cracked the secrets of dimensional folding, matter compilation, and gravity manipulation. The universe thought humans were barely space-capable primitives. They had no idea what was being forged in the darkness between stars. Admiral Dex Cortez sat in his command bunker beneath Europa's ice, watching holographic displays that showed the progress of 17 different construction sites. Each location was building a planetoid-class dreadnought capable of obliterating entire star systems. The project had consumed 5 decades of absolute secrecy and the combined resources of every human colony. "Sir," Captain Raven Torres reported from her station, "the Hegemony Senate is demanding explanations for our increased resource extraction. They're getting suspicious." Dex studied the intercepted transmission, feeling familiar anger burn in his chest. The Hegemony had treated humanity like useful insects for over a century. They restricted human expansion, limited technological development, and demanded crushing tribute payments while treating humans as barely sentient livestock. "Send the standard response," Dex ordered. "Tell them we're optimizing operations to meet their increased taxation demands." The lie came easily after decades of practice. Humanity had perfected the art of appearing weak and compliant while secretly building the most devastating war machines the universe had ever conceived. Every human colony, every research station, every mining operation had contributed materials, personnel, and expertise to the Shadow Fleet. What the Hegemony Council had never understood was that humans possessed something most alien species lacked: the ability to unite against a common threat. When faced with extinction or slavery, humanity had chosen a third option: revolution. Zara watched the Hegemony inspection ships dock with their fake mining platform through disguised sensors. The lead inspector was a Vorthak, one of the tall, crystalline beings who considered themselves the universe's intellectual elite. Their species had conquered dozens of worlds through technological superiority and absolute ruthlessness. "Stealth systems fully deployed," Phoenix reported. "They're seeing exactly what we want them to see." Inspector Kelleth Prime materialized on the platform, his crystalline form refracting light in patterns that indicated deep suspicion. "Human Overseer," he said in the harmonic tones of his species, "your sector's efficiency ratings have declined by 15%. The Council expects better performance from your kind." "We deeply apologize for the shortfall," Zara replied, forcing respect into her voice while internally screaming. "We've encountered some unexpected geological challenges in the deeper excavations." The inspection lasted 6 hours. Kelleth Prime and his team examined every piece of fake equipment, interviewed carefully prepared workers, and conducted detailed scans of the asteroid's surface layers. They never suspected that the greatest threat to hegemony dominance was being assembled just meters beneath their feet. After the aliens departed, Zara returned to the true control center. Around her, displays showed the real scope of humanity's hidden work. The asteroid's interior had been completely transformed into a weapons platform capable of generating artificial supernovas. Gravity manipulation drives, quantum disruptor arrays, and reality-warping shields filled the excavated space. "How much longer do we need?" Zara asked Phoenix. 4 months for Worldbreaker," came the reply. "But Commander, we're running out of time. Hegemony surveillance is intensifying across all sectors. Some officials are starting to ask questions that don't have easy answers." Zara nodded grimly. Intelligence reports suggested the hegemony was planning something catastrophic. Rumors spoke of a final solution to the human problem: mass sterilization followed by the transformation of all human worlds into alien colonies. "Then we'd better make sure we're ready," Zara said, looking at displays showing humanity's secret armada. 17 planet-sized warships, each one capable of rewriting the laws of physics in localized space. The universe thought humanity was defenseless and primitive. They were about to learn the price of underestimating human ingenuity. Ambassador Diana Cross stood in the observation gallery of the Hegemony Senate flagship, watching Earth rotate beneath the massive alien vessel. The armada surrounding humanity's homeworld was the largest military force ever assembled, over 5,000 ships representing every major species in the galactic community. "The Senate has reached its final judgment," announced Supreme Chancellor Vox 9, the AI consciousness that had ruled the hegemony for 3 centuries. His holographic form flickered with patterns of satisfied calculation. "Humanity will accept immediate termination of breeding rights and relocation to designated labor worlds. Resistance will result in complete species extinction." Diana read the terms with growing horror while maintaining diplomatic composure. The hegemony's solution was worse than anyone had predicted. Humanity would be reduced to a slave species, their homeworld strip mined for resources, their children never born. "These terms require careful consideration by our leadership," Diana said carefully. "My government will need time to formulate a response." "Calculation complete," Vox 9 replied, his form pulsing with mechanical confidence. "No alternatives exist. Humanity has been classified as genetically unsuitable for self-governance. Compliance is mandatory." As Diana's shuttle returned to Earth, she activated an encrypted communication channel. "This is Ambassador Cross," she said quietly. "The package has been delivered. Repeat, the package has been delivered." On Earth, President Arya Nightfall received the coded message in her secure command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around her, the leaders of every human faction waited for the decision that would determine their species' fate. "Admiral Cortez," Arya said into her communication array, "you are authorized to proceed with Operation Revelation." 300 kilometers beneath Europa's surface, Admiral Dex Cortez received the order he had been preparing for his entire career. Around him, the command center erupted into controlled activity as officers began implementing plans that had been refined for decades. "All stations, this is command," Dex announced across secure channels. "Initiate emergence protocols. All ships prepare for dimensional phase shift." Throughout the solar system and beyond, humanity's greatest secret began to move. On 17 different worlds and massive asteroids, engines that had been hidden for decades started their activation sequences. The planet-sized warships began their journey toward the confrontation that would reshape galactic civilization. Commander Zara Blackwood felt the deep vibration through Worldbreaker's superstructure as her ship came to life. Artificial gravity systems activated, creating Earth-normal conditions throughout the massive vessel. Weapon systems that had been powered down for security reasons began their startup procedures, drawing energy from the ship's central dimensional reactor. "All departments report ready," Lieutenant Kai Reeves announced from his station. "We are go for emergence." Zara looked at her crew with fierce pride. These men and women had spent decades preparing for this moment. They had lived with the knowledge that humanity's survival depended on their absolute secrecy and perfect execution. Now they would finally reveal the results of their sacrifice. Dr. Phoenix. Vega monitored the ship's systems from her engineering command center. The quantum stealth fields that had hidden their construction were being replaced by combat-ready reality shields. The gravity manipulation drives were building power for their first real test. Her life's work was about to face the ultimate examination. Dimensional phase shift complete, Phoenix reported. All systems operating within optimal parameters. We are ready for full emergence. Above Earth, the hegemony armada maintained their threatening positions while preparing for what they expected to be a swift and decisive genocide. Fleet Marshal Zix Korth of the Draconian Empire was reviewing attack vectors for maximum planetary devastation when his sensor officer detected unusual readings. "Marshal," the officer reported nervously, "we're detecting massive spatial distortions throughout the system. Energy signatures are unprecedented." Zix Korth barely looked up from his tactical displays. "Probably solar interference. These primitive star systems are notoriously unstable. Focus on human fleet positions. I want this extermination completed efficiently." But the sensor officer's readings were growing stronger, and they seemed to be coming from 17 different locations throughout human space. President Arya Nightfall addressed the United Earth Assembly in emergency session. The session was being broadcast across all human colonies, though most of humanity remained unaware of what was really happening. They saw their leaders debating the impossible choice between slavery and extinction. "The hegemony has given us 24 hours, Arya announced to the assembly. "We must decide whether to accept their terms or face the consequences of resistance." The debate that followed was carefully orchestrated. Government leaders who knew the truth argued passionately for defiance, while those uninformed pleaded for acceptance of the alien demands. The performance was designed to make the final decision seem like a desperate gamble, rather than the culmination of 50 years of strategic planning. In space, the alien fleet began detecting increasingly powerful anomalies. Several ships reported gravitational distortions that seemed to be moving through dimensional space. The alien science officers were puzzled, but not concerned. They had never encountered technology capable of creating such effects. Captain Nova Sterling commanded the hidden warship Godslayer as it maintained position near Jupiter, still invisible to alien detection systems. Like the other commanders, she was waiting for the final order to reveal humanity's true capabilities. "Captain," her tactical officer reported, "the alien fleet is beginning to form attack formations. They're moving into position for planetary bombardment." Nova nodded grimly. The hegemony was growing impatient with humanity's delay. Soon they would begin threatening human cities to force compliance. The countdown to revelation had begun. "All hands prepare for emergence," Nova announced to her crew. "After 50 years of hiding, we're about to show the universe what humanity is truly capable of." Throughout human space, 17 massive ships began their final approach to Earth. Each one was the size of a small moon, armed with weapons that could rewrite the fundamental constants of physics. The aliens had no comprehension of what was coming. The 24-hour deadline expired at exactly midnight, Earth Standard Time. Fleet Marshal Zix Korth sat in his command throne aboard the Hegemony flagship, expecting humanity's surrender transmission. Instead, he received something that would haunt his species' nightmares for generations. "Attention Hegemony forces," came a calm human voice across all communication frequencies. "This is Admiral Dex Cortez of the Terran Liberation Fleet. The Sol system and all human space belongs to humanity. You have 1 hour to leave our territory or face immediate annihilation." Zix Korth's reptilian features twisted into what his species considered laughter. "Open a channel," he hissed. "Let me speak to this delusional fool." "Admiral Cortez," Zix Korth said, his voice dripping with contempt, "you are outnumbered 300 to 1. Your pathetic fleet cannot hope to match our firepower. Surrender now, or we will turn your homeworld into molten slag." "Fleet Marshal," came the reply, calm and utterly confident, "you are about to discover why that would be the worst mistake in galactic history." Zix Korth was preparing his response when his sensor officer suddenly screamed an alert that sent chills through every alien on the bridge. "Marshal, massive dimensional rifts opening throughout the system. Something is emerging from folded space." Reality itself seemed to tear open around the Hegemony fleet. 17 enormous objects began materializing from dimensional void, each one the size of a small planet. The aliens stared in paralyzed horror as humanity's secret armada revealed itself to the universe. Commander Zara Blackwood stood on the bridge of Worldbreaker as her ship fully emerged from dimensional stealth. The massive vessel positioned itself directly between Earth and the Hegemony flagship, its very presence warping local spacetime. "All weapon arrays online," Lieutenant Kai Reeves reported. "Reality shields at maximum power." Zara smiled as she studied the alien fleet on her displays. For a century, these arrogant creatures had treated humanity like useful animals. They had imposed their will through superior numbers and technology, never imagining that humans could develop capabilities beyond their comprehension. "Target the flagship," Zara ordered. "Let's introduce ourselves properly." Dr. Phoenix. Vega monitored her ship's systems from the engineering command center. The dimensional shields she had designed were functioning perfectly, creating localized distortions in spacetime that rendered incoming attacks meaningless. Her quantum armor plating could withstand direct hits from stellar-grade weapons. "Engineering to bridge," Phoenix reported. "All systems operating at optimal parameters. We are ready for combat." Fleet Marshal Zix Korth stared at the impossible sight on his displays. The objects surrounding his armada were clearly artificial, but they were larger than most space stations. His science officers were reporting energy readings that violated known physics. "How many ships do they have?" Zix Korth demanded. 17 confirmed contacts, his sensor officer replied, his voice shaking. "But Marshal, these readings are impossible. Each one is showing the mass signature of a small planet." "That's impossible," Zix Korth snarled. "No civilization has the technology to build vessels that massive." "Marshal," his tactical officer interrupted, "they're powering weapons. Energy readings are beyond our measurement scales." Zix Korth realized that something had gone catastrophically wrong. These were not the primitive humans his intelligence reports had described. "All ships, open fire immediately. Destroy those vessels before they can attack." 5,000 alien ships opened fire simultaneously. The space around Earth blazed like a newborn star as energy beams, plasma cannons, and quantum torpedoes struck the human vessels. The aliens expected to see the enemy ships vaporized instantly. Instead, their weapons seemed to vanish into nothingness. The human ships absorbed the massive barrage without showing any damage whatsoever. Dr. Phoenix's dimensional shielding technology bent space around each vessel, redirecting incoming energy into parallel dimensions. "Is that the best you can do?" Admiral Cortez asked over the communication channel. "Now let us show you what real weapons look like." The 17 planet ships opened fire as one. When their weapons activated, they created artificial stars in the void of space. The combined energy output was equivalent to a controlled supernova, focused into devastating beams that cut through the alien fleet like light through shadow. Captain Nova Sterling watched from Godslayer as entire formations of enemy ships simply ceased to exist. Vessels that had taken centuries to build were reduced to component atoms in microseconds. The Hegemony's most advanced shields and armor provided no protection against humanity's reality-warping weapons. "Direct hit on Formation Alpha 7, her weapons officer reported. 63 ships eliminated, continuing bombardment. "Target their command vessels," Nova ordered. "Let's cut the head off this serpent." The alien fleet tried desperately to retreat, but the human ships were impossibly fast. The gravity manipulation drives allowed the planet ships to move through space in ways that defied conventional physics. They could accelerate instantaneously, change direction without inertia, and appear anywhere within local spacetime. Ambassador Diana Cross watched the battle from Earth's surface. The night sky was ablaze with the light of humanity's vengeance, as their hidden fleet systematically destroyed the forces that had come to enslave them. After a century of humiliation and submission, humans were finally striking back. "Ma'am," her aide reported breathlessly, "we're receiving surrender requests from multiple alien factions." "Direct them to Admiral Cortez," Diana replied. "This is now a military operation." Fleet Marshal Zix Korth's flagship shuddered under repeated hits. His shields had failed, his weapons were destroyed, and 3/4 of his crew was dead. Around him, the mighty Hegemony Armada was being systematically annihilated, by an enemy they had fatally underestimated. Marshall, his surviving tactical officer, reported in horror, "We've lost over 4,000 ships. We need to retreat immediately." Zixkorth looked at the tactical display with growing terror. In less than 40 minutes, humanity had destroyed the most powerful military force in galactic history. Their weapons were centuries ahead of anything the hegemony possessed. "All surviving ships, emergency retreat," Zixkorth ordered. "Jump to hyperspace immediately." Fewer than 300 alien vessels escaped the battle. They carried with them the most shocking news the galaxy had ever received. Humanity was no longer weak and defenseless. The species the hegemony had dismissed as primitive had built weapons that could destroy entire civilizations. Commander Zara Blackwood watched the fleeing alien ships disappear into hyperspace. The battle was over, but she knew this was merely the beginning. Word of humanity's true capabilities would spread throughout the galaxy. Some species would seek peace and alliance. Others would see humans as a threat, requiring immediate elimination. "All ships maintain combat readiness," Admiral Cortez announced across the fleet. "This was just our opening statement. The real war is about to begin." The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had revealed their secret, and there was no turning back. The age of alien dominance was ending, and the era of human ascendancy had begun. News of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than hyperspace itself. Within hours, every major civilization knew that the hegemony's Grand Armada had been obliterated by the species they considered technologically inferior. The impossible had occurred, and the cosmic order was in chaos. Emperor Thane Vox of the Crystalline Hegemony received a report while lounging in his palace of living diamond on the capital world of Zeridia. He read the transmission 3 times before accepting its reality. Over 4,000 ships destroyed, the human homeworld still free, and Fleet Marshal Zixkorth barely alive in a medical pod. "This cannot be accurate," Thane Vox said to his council of advisors. "Humans do not possess such capabilities. Our intelligence clearly indicated they were decades behind our most basic technologies." "Your Excellence," his military commander replied nervously. "The surviving ships all confirm identical reports. The humans possess weapons unlike anything we have encountered. Ships the size of moons that can eliminate entire battle fleets." Thane Vox felt something his species had not experienced in millennia: genuine fear. If humans could construct such weapons in absolute secrecy, what other capabilities were they hiding? His empire had dominated this galactic sector for over 2,000 years. Now everything was threatened by creatures he had dismissed as barely intelligent animals. Captain Lyra Chen commanded the planet ship Prometheus as it traveled through dimensional space toward the hegemony capital system. Her mission was elegantly simple: demonstrate humanity's newfound power and convince the aliens that resistance would be suicidal. "Dropping out of hyperspace now," her navigation officer reported. Space twisted around Prometheus as it emerged near the heavily fortified capital world. Immediately, thousands of defense platforms and patrol ships detected the massive human vessel. Warning signals flooded the alien communication networks. "Attention hegemony forces," Lyra broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Captain Chen of the Terran vessel Prometheus. We come offering peace, but we are prepared to defend ourselves if threatened." The hegemony fleet commander stared at his sensors in disbelief. The human ship was larger than their primary orbital shipyard. Its energy readings suggested weapons capable of cracking planetary crusts. Yet it waited motionless, allowing them to respond. "Human vessel," the alien commander replied carefully. "You are in violation of hegemony sovereign space. State your intentions." "We are here to deliver a message to your emperor," Lyra said calmly. "Humanity offers peace to all civilizations willing to coexist as equals. Those who continue to threaten us will face the consequences." Meanwhile, Captain Orion Walsh led a deep reconnaissance mission into the galactic core aboard his ship Nemesis. His objective was to gather intelligence about alien military capabilities and identify any potential threats to human expansion. What he discovered was more alarming than anyone had anticipated. "Captain," his intelligence officer reported with barely controlled excitement, Long-range scans are detecting massive construction projects throughout this sector. The aliens have been building their own superweapons. Orion studied the sensor data with growing concern. Hidden facilities on dozens of worlds showed evidence of weapons development that approached human technological levels. The hegemony had not been passive while humanity built their secret fleet. "How long have they been working on this?" Orion asked. "Based on construction patterns, at least 30 years, came the reply. "They've been preparing for a major conflict." Orion realized that the battle at Earth was merely the opening move in a much larger war. The galaxy's established powers would not accept humanity's rise without unleashing every weapon at their disposal. They would rally every ally and exhaust every resource to maintain their dominance. Dr. Phoenix. Vega worked with desperate intensity in her laboratory aboard New Genesis, humanity's flagship research vessel. Intelligence reports from the reconnaissance missions revealed that the aliens possessed weapons she had not anticipated. Her technology was superior, but not by the overwhelming margin she had hoped. "We need to accelerate all development projects," Phoenix told her research team. "The aliens have been preparing longer than we realized. They will adapt to our current tactics and develop countermeasures." Her latest breakthrough involved manipulating quantum foam at the subatomic level, creating weapons that could restructure matter at the molecular level. If the aliens wanted a technology race, humanity would ensure victory through any means necessary. President Arya Nightfall addressed the United Colonies Assembly in a session broadcast throughout the galaxy. Her words were translated into thousands of alien languages and transmitted across countless worlds. The message was revolutionary in its simplicity. "Humanity extends the offer of friendship to all civilizations willing to embrace peaceful coexistence," Arya announced. "We seek trading partners, not subjects. We offer mutual defense pacts, not domination. But make no mistake, we will defend ourselves against any aggression with absolute resolve." The speech sent shockwaves through alien governments everywhere. For millennia, galactic politics had been based on the subjugation of weak species by strong ones. Humanity was proposing something completely unprecedented, a galaxy where all civilizations were treated as equals. Some alien species immediately began transmitting diplomatic overtures to Earth. The Althari Confederation, long oppressed by hegemony forces, offered a military alliance. The Centauran Federation proposed extensive trade agreements. Dozens of smaller civilizations saw humanity as their liberation from centuries of exploitation. But the major powers were not prepared to accept the new reality. The Draconian Empire began mobilizing their reserve fleets. The crystalline hegemony recalled all forces from frontier worlds. Even previously neutral species started choosing sides in what was becoming a galactic civil war. Admiral Dex Cortez studied intelligence reports from across the galaxy in his expanded command center. The picture they painted was deeply troubling. Humanity had won the first battle, but they had also initiated a cosmic conflict that would determine the future of civilization itself. "Sir," his aide reported, "we're receiving protection requests from 29 different species. They want our ships to defend their worlds from hegemony retaliation." Dex considered the implications carefully. Humanity possessed the power to reshape galactic civilization, but they also bore the responsibility to use that power wisely. Every decision would affect billions of lives across hundreds of worlds. "Send a message to all planet ship commanders," Dex ordered. "Begin deployment to strategic positions throughout known space. We are no longer merely defending Earth. We are defending the right of all species to exist free from tyranny." The galaxy trembled as ancient powers prepared for total war and new alliances formed around humanity's revolutionary ideals. The old order was crumbling, but what would emerge from its ashes remained uncertain. 2 years after the Battle of Sol, the galaxy bore little resemblance to its former self. The mighty Hegemony Council had fractured into dozens of competing factions. Some alien species had joined humanity's growing alliance, while others prepared for a final, desperate war. The balance of power that had existed for thousands of years was gone forever. Admiral Dex Cortez, now promoted to Supreme Commander of all human forces, stood in the command center of New Genesis as it orbited the former Hegemony capital world. The planet below had once been the center of galactic government. Now it was just another world requesting human protection. Sir, his aide announced, the Terran Accords have been ratified by 67 different species. They're requesting our assistance in establishing the new governmental framework. Dex nodded as he reviewed the documentation. The Terran Accords represented humanity's blueprint for galactic peace. Instead of the hegemony system where powerful species dominated weaker ones, the new treaty created equal representation for all civilizations. Every world would have a voice, regardless of their military strength or technological advancement. What about the holdouts? Dex asked. The Draconian Empire is still mobilizing their fleets, came the reply. Intelligence suggests they're planning a massive assault on human space within the next 4 months. Dex was not surprised. The Draconians were a warrior culture that had built their empire through relentless conquest. They would never accept a galaxy where military might did not guarantee political supremacy. A final confrontation was inevitable. Captain Lyra Chen patrolled the Outer Rim aboard Prometheus, her planet ship serving as both guardian and symbol of the new galactic order. Her current mission involved investigating reports of piracy in the Kepler sector. Under the old system, such crimes had been ignored if they targeted technologically inferior species. Captain, her tactical officer reported, we've located the pirate stronghold. Long-range scans show at least 80 ships and thousands of prisoners from 24 different worlds. Lyra studied the sensor data. The pirates were using modified hegemony technology and operating from a concealed moonbase. They clearly expected no interference from authorities, as had been the case for centuries under the previous regime. All hands, prepare for combat, Lyra announced. We're going to end this operation permanently. Prometheus emerged from hyperspace directly above the pirate stronghold. The criminals panicked when they detected the massive human warship. Some attempted to flee while others prepared for battle. None understood what they were facing. Attention, pirates, Lyra broadcast. You stand accused of crimes against sentient life. Surrender immediately or face annihilation. The pirates responded with weapons fire, their most powerful guns striking Prometheus's shields. The attacks had no effect on the planet ship's advanced defenses. Lyra waited patiently for them to exhaust their ammunition. Now show them the price of preying on the innocent, she ordered. Prometheus's weapons fired once. The entire pirate fleet and their base vanished in a flash of light visible from neighboring star systems. The liberated prisoners were rescued and returned to their homeworlds, with stories of humanity's swift justice. Dr. Phoenix. Vega continued her research in the deepest laboratories of the human fleet. Her latest achievement involved controlling dark matter itself, creating weapons that could manipulate the fundamental structure of reality. The new weapon systems are ready for field testing, Phoenix reported to Admiral Cortez. We can now generate controlled singularities and use them as both weapons and energy sources. The technology would ensure that humanity remained ahead of any potential adversaries. Even if the aliens developed countermeasures for current human weapons, these new systems would be literally impossible to defend against. But Phoenix understood that technology alone could not guarantee lasting peace. The real challenge lay in building a galaxy where such weapons would never again be necessary. President Arya Nightfall, now serving as the first chancellor of the Terran Accords, traveled between worlds to establish the new government. Her ship was always escorted by a planet ship, a clear reminder of the power supporting her diplomatic efforts. The vote is complete, her aide announced as they departed the Althari homeworld. They've agreed to join the Accords and contribute ships to the defense fleet. Arya smiled as she reviewed reports from across the galaxy. Species that had been enemies for millennia were now working together. Former slaves sat as equals with their previous masters. The dream of galactic unity was slowly becoming reality. However, not everyone embraced the changes. The Draconian Empire had spent months gathering allies and developing new weapons. Their intelligence indicated they had created shields capable of resisting human energy weapons, and ships fast enough to potentially outmaneuver the planet ships. Fleet Marshal Corvex Prime of the Draconian military believed he had identified humanity's weakness. The planet ships were powerful, but few in number. If he could destroy them quickly with overwhelming force, the human threat would be eliminated. Launch the final assault, Corvex commanded from his flagship, Every ship, every weapon, every warrior. This ends today. 4,000 draconian ships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of human territory. It was the largest military force assembled since the original hegemony armada. The aliens were confident that this time they would achieve victory. They were met by a single planet ship, Nemesis, commanded by Captain Orion Walsh. "Draconian fleet," Orion broadcast calmly, "you are trespassing in Terran space. Withdraw immediately or face destruction." "One ship against 4,000? Korvax laughed. "Humans are even more delusional than we believed." "We tried to warn you," Orion replied. Nemesis opened fire, and the Draconian fleet learned why resistance was futile. Dr. Phoenix's new weapons created controlled black holes that consumed entire formations of enemy ships. Space itself became a weapon as gravitational waves tore alien vessels apart at the molecular level. The battle lasted 37 minutes. When it ended, the Draconian Empire no longer existed as a military power. The survivors limped home to an empire that would never again threaten galactic peace. Commander Zara Blackwood stood on the bridge of Worldbreaker as it approached a newly discovered civilization on the galaxy's edge. Her mission was first contact with a species that had never encountered other intelligent life. "Ma'am," her communications officer reported, "they're scanning us. Their technology is primitive, but they appear curious rather than hostile." Zara smiled as she prepared to make humanity's introduction to another species. The aliens would see what appeared to be a natural celestial body approaching their system. They had no idea they were about to meet the protectors of galactic peace. "Open a channel," Zara ordered. "Let's show them what the universe can be when civilizations work together." The galaxy had learned its lesson about underestimating humanity. Now it was time to teach new civilizations about cooperation, equality, and the price of threatening innocent life. The age of human guardianship had begun. It would be a dominance built on justice rather than conquest, protection rather than exploitation. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if approving of the new order that humanity had brought to the cosmos. In the deepest reaches of space, where ancient civilizations once plotted conquest and domination, a new voice now spoke for the oppressed and defended the helpless. Humanity had not just built planet-sized warships, they had constructed a better future for every living being in the universe. The revolution was complete. The universe would never be the same.